mechanic is somebody who can fix something. An auto mechanic fixes a car, a body mechanic is a professional killer. I'm a card mechanic, I can fix a card game.
Ace of cards, Richard Turner.
He can do things with cards no one else can do. He's a trickster.
He is demonstrating the moves used by cheaters, the most difficult things you can do with a deck of cards.
I represent why you should never play cards with strangers.
When I saw Richard Turner perform, I was in the presence of greatness.
About halfway through the show, you can see different members of the audience realize it. This guy can't see.
I'm what's known as a card mechanic, slang term, card cheat, card shark. I'm going to demonstrate how many ways I can take your money at the card table while sharing what it takes to become world class when you can't see and you have to block with your face. Laura, tell everybody your name.
I'm Laura.
There we have it. Now, back in the days of the Old West, there were cheaters everywhere. And the rule of the day was if they couldn't see it, it wasn't considered cheating. If they did see it, they had the right to kill you. So you were either good or good and dead. When you play poker, blackjack, bridge, whatever the game, you want to make sure your cards are evenly mixed. Here's a deck for Laura and a deck for me. So Laura, just give your deck some cuts. Just simple cuts, any way you like. Alternate the cut. Give it a flying three-way. Okay. Now you have to shuffle them. Break them nice in half, 26, 26. Okay. Lace them up nice and even. Okay, do it again, nice and even. Okay, and give it a cut, just a box cut, strip cut. Break it again, lace them up, nice and even. Okay, now give it a straight cut, and give it one more, finish it off with one more cut. Got it? All right, the cards should be pretty evenly mixed. Hold your cards in your hand off the table. Let's just take a peek and see if the deck looks pretty evenly mixed. Do we have all the aces?
Yes.
2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, Jack, Queen? Okay. That's what I call pretty evenly mixed. We're going to give the deck a casino wash, just so the people that have those funny cards, they would be destroyed. All right, and we will pass this deck over to Kathy. Just shuffle them up and just set them aside when you're done. They're all face down, yes?
Yes, they are.
Shuffle them up, have them ready to go. This deck's ready, yes? Yes. Pass them over. How many have ever played cards, have heard of wild cards? Like deuces are wild, baseball have multiple wild cards. Other games, they'll just cut the deck and that will be the wild card for the night. Laura, cut off half the deck. Got it?
Yeah.
And to make it random, just say any random number. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's that card out loud?
It's the Queen of Hearts.
So the queens are the wild card. How many have ever played in a game where the deck is passed around the table? Kathy's deal. What's your name in front?
David.
Say again, Adrian?
David.
David. And next to David?
Pete.
Pete, David and Pete, and Laura. So the deck goes around the table. It's now my deal. She handed me a shuffled deck. Now I have many ways to do this. I'll do it my favorite way. Just through the act of shuffling, I'm going to try to find some good cards I can pitch to my partner. Then they have what's called a random cut, and we'll give it one more little shuffle. Now, I'll show you how fast the deck can be uncut. What is that card?
The 9 of Hearts.
The 9 is on top. The deck is cut, and the deck is no longer cut. Watch again. The deck is cut. The deck is no longer cut. So I'm showing you, I'm not trying to fool you, I'm telling you. How many have ever played Texas Hold'em? Say yes. Yes. In Hold'em, they have what's called a cut card, a burnt card. They'll put a card face up on the bottom. Good. Now, after the fact, you're going to tell me how many people step up to my Hold'em table. Pete, give me a number of players. 5, 6, 7, call it.
6.
6 players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Burn. And we always call the flop. And what are those 3 cards, Laura?
Ace of Hearts,
5 of clubs, queen of spades.
So the queen was the wild card, right? So you have a pair of aces on the table right now. Burn, turn. What's that?
8 of diamonds.
8. Burn, turn. Oh, sorry, stop me. What's that?
Queen of diamonds.
So we have 3 aces on the table. Let's get rid of our burnt card off the bottom. And let's see what my partner, Kathy, has in the pocket. I think, hold on, which were your 2 cards, Kathy? Tell them which ones. There was 3 here. There should be only 2. Okay, what's that card?
That's the 4 of spades.
Okay, that was what's that card?
That's the queen of clubs.
And what's that?
That's the queen of hearts.
That's 5 aces. Because with the wild cards and the ace, 5 aces is the highest hand in poker when you have wild cards. But you shuffled, you cut. I took care of business for you. Give that deck a shuffle. Are they all face down?
Yes, they are.
Give it a quick shuffle. Set them right there when you're done. As you saw from the trailer, I see with my mind and my fingers. I'll give you a little background on my vision situation. In 1963, my sister and I, we both contracted scarlet fever. And for whatever reason, it caused us both to lose our sight. I was 9 years old when my vision started going south. During my teens and 20s, my vision was measured at 20/400, which is twice as low as what's considered legally blind. Then it all disappeared. And I have to say, well, let me ask this first. Is it okay if we're not politically correct for a few minutes? Yes. Is that okay? Can we laugh and tell some jokes? Yep. I can't stand this new politically correct that you can't be funny anymore. And don't worry, the only one I make fun of is me. And if I decide I went too far, I'll sue myself. Sound fair? I have to say, growing up with vision no better than the cartoon character Mr. Magoo can be really entertaining at times. Like watching as I stop trees, corridors, solid brick buildings with my bare head. Block with my head, protect my hands. Valuable? Not so valuable. But my beautiful wife, she's so immune to me running into things. We're sitting in our recliners. She's reading. I'm shuffling. The phone rings. I dash to answer the phone. I ran square into the corner of a wall, split my head wide open. I'm gushing blood. She looked up from her book and said, "Now that one had to hurt." I was on the driving range with my dentist. He went to the restroom. I didn't realize each time I put a ball down, I made a slight adjustment to the left. Instead of driving the balls at 12 o'clock, I was driving them at 9 o'clock right towards the pro shop. And the golf pro is down there yelling and screaming over the speaker, "Hey, you in the blue shirt!" And of course, I couldn't tell I was wearing a blue shirt. He said, "What the heck are you driving those balls over here for? Are you crazy?" I wondered who that jerk was in the blue shirt as I, bam, drove another 2-inch bullet right towards his face. When our son, Asa, was about 7 years old, we were at a restaurant. He had to use the restroom. We both sided up to a pair of urinals, and I'm being my normal goofy self, and I'm looking over and down at my little boy going, "Oh, I'd love to pee and get the pee out of me." When I feel this little tap on my back, voice from behind go, "Dad, I finished." That's another man you're singing to. I got up to brush my teeth. I squirted the toothpaste on my brush, started brushing. It was awful. I asked my wife, I said, "What kind of toothpaste is this? It's wretched." She laughed. She said, "That's not toothpaste. That's spermicide. It's for birth control. You keep using that, we'll never have kids." This is probably the most goofy moment of all. I came up with a great idea for the blind and deaf driver. I bought a motorcycle. I would drive. My deaf friend Roy would tell me where to go. Right, left, red light, green light. It worked really well until one day we were pulled over for suspected armed robbery. We fit the profile of the robbers to a T except for 2 minor details. The getaway driver wasn't blind. His accomplice wasn't deaf. Once we proved to the cop that we couldn't see the lights flashing or hear the siren blasting, I received a ticket for driving while blind, and he let us drive on. True story. Now you know what an oddball you're listening to. This is what I've learned about life. We're all dealt different hands in life. With those hands, we make choices. A choice of mediocrity or painting a portrait of success. During my show, you're going to become familiar with the acronym DEALT. D-E-A-L-T is in Delta Hand of Cards. D stands for dreams. Our dreams fuel the fire in our belly. E stands for excellence. What opens doors is becoming an expert, achieving a state of excellence. A stands for analysis. We must analyze our obstacles. We must analyze our assets. L stands for loyalty. We must be loyal to values such as honesty and integrity. And T stands for tenacity. Tenacity breaks down the barriers that stand between us and our dream. We'll start with the letter D, dreams. Growing up, I had 3 dreams. 1 was to kick like Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee. 2 was to have strength like Charlton Heston demonstrated in the old movie Ben-Hur. But my most bizarre aspiration was to be a card shark, like James Garner's character from the TV series Maverick. As I said, I want to be a card shark. At 7 years old, I started playing cards for M&Ms with my sisters. And I wanted all of their M&Ms. So I started devising ways to make sure I got all of their M&Ms. And by the time I turned 21 in 1975, I had developed enough skill that I had the privilege of start training under a man named Professor Nye Vernon. Professor was born in 1894. He lived to be 98 years old. And for over half a century, he was considered the best in the world with a deck of cards. I had the privilege of working with Professor for 17 years. And during my years with Professor, he would describe to me very intricate card concepts and card moves. And the thing is, he didn't describe them to me in the way that he could do them or the way that anyone else could do them because I couldn't see what he was showing me. He tricked me. He described them to me in a perfect manner, in the way he wished they could be done. And only after I spent thousands of hours, in some cases tens of thousands of hours, and managed to master these different moves, techniques, and controls, did he eventually admit to me he made them up. He thought they were impossible. He just wanted to see what the obsessed kid would come up with. I'm going to show you something. When I first approached him with the idea, he said it's not possible. How many have ever played 7-card stud, my favorite game? Say yes. Yes. What's that gentleman over there said yes? Carlo? Carlo. We'll compromise with that. Carlo?
Callum.
Oh, Callum. Oh, Callum. Oh, my Callum. Oh, Callum. How many players should we have? For time's sake, 4 or 5?
4.
Where do you want to sit? 1, 2, 3, or 4? 4 and 3. Here we go. 1, 2. Here's column. 3 and 4. 1, 2. And column chose number 3. Now watch this. Kathy, I want you to take these cards, mix them up. You're going to be my automatic shuffling machine. Mix them up. Do not give me the whole deck back. Just put a random stack of cards in my hand. And then just keep shuffling the rest. I put a stack of cards in my hand. Oh, she's stingy, column. Okay, we have player 4. Now we have what are called the door cards. 1, 2, here's column. What is that card, Kathy?
That's the Ace of Clubs.
Oh, it's a good card. Take them back. Mix them up. Mix them with the others. Hand me a stack of cards. So Kathy is going to do everything she can to try to screw things up for column. Oh, 4 cards more than last time. Thank you. Player 4. Player 1. Player 2. Slow motion. Here's column. What's that? Huh? Mix them up. Mix them up. Hannah, mix them up. Mix them up. And we're playing 7 stud. We're playing high Chicago. That means high spade in the hole splits the pot. Hand me a stack of cards. Oh, very good. We have player 4. Player 1. Player 2. Here's column. What's that?
That's the 10 of clubs.
That's good. Mix them up. Mix them up. Mix them up. Keeping all my messes in order. Hand me a stack.
Okay, hang on.
Put them in my hand. Thank you. Oh, there we go. Thank you. And we have player 4. We have player 1. Player 2. Here's column. What's that?
That's the 8 of clubs.
8?
Yeah.
Well, that's no good. Ace or 8?
8.
EIG.
8.
Mix them up. Hand me some cards. Hand me some cards. Okay. Oh, now you're getting a little more generous. Now we have what's called down and dirty. Make sure we nice neat pile. 3 and 4. Take those back. So you shuffle and cut. Let's see what you have. He chose the 3rd position at a 4-player table. I think we said queens of the wild card. What is that card?
That's the 8 of
8.
clubs.
What is that?
That's the 10 of clubs.
10.
Ace.
Ace.
Of hearts. Ace of
Pair of aces. What's that?
That's the king of diamonds.
King. What is that?
The king of hearts.
We have 2 kings, 2 aces. We're playing high spade and the whole splits the pot. What's that?
The ace of spades.
Full house. Strongest full house possible. But you shuffled, you cut, you chose how many players, you chose where you wanted to sit. All I did was cheat. Give me the deck back. All right, I'll give a quick shuffle for you. Did we get all the cards there? Make sure they're all face down, shuffle them up. D stands for dreams, E stands for excellence. What opens doors is becoming an expert, achieving a state of excellence. My first director was a man named Steve Terrell. Steve was a TV and movie star back in the 50s, early 60s. He formed a theater company called the Lambs Players. And I was with him from 72 to 78. And during those years, Steve taught me how to play the part of a sighted person, how to square my head toward the sound of someone's voice, look them in the eye, and give them the impression that I could see them. He would also watch me practice with the cards before and after every scene. He said, you love cards. If you become the best card man in the world, that will open doors for you. You'll earn the respect from others, and that will open doors for you. Professor Vernon said something very similar. He said, if you could do anything, it doesn't matter what it is. If you can do anything better than everyone else in the world, people will try to break down your doors to meet you. Now, how does that happen? 2 4-letter words. 4-letter words some of these kids today think are curse words. Those 2 words are hard work. It takes 10 years of hard work to become an overnight success. Many Olympic athletes would argue that spending hours of the day in the gym or running dozens of wind sprints on the track is not exactly fun. Still, they love it. But world-class performance requires world-class discipline. And as I like to say, discipline breeds discipline. Discipline breeds discipline. The more you do something, the more you can do of it, and the better you'll do it. Now, there's another expression I disagree with, and that is practice makes perfect. Practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. You can practice something wrong. When you're done, it is perfectly wrong. And I'm sure a lot of you, we see that in our industry all the time. Perfect practice makes perfect. Malcolm Gladwell talks about the rule of 10,000 hours. He said to become a true expert, a real master, you must devote at least 10,000 hours to your craft. That basically breaks down to 3 hours a day, 7 days a week for 10 years straight. I hate to even say this, I've been working with cards for over 60 years, 61 years or so. And I've made a living with cards for 50 years. And for 50 years, I practiced 3 to 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, nonstop for half a century straight. And half of those years, my average practice day was 14 to 16 hours. I am going to show you what obsessive compulsive behavior can do for you too. Kathy, pick a number between 10 and 20.
13.
Watch. Let's see if we got 13 cards for you. Can you count them out loud for us, Kathy?
Yeah.
Right there so everybody can follow.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
We did it.
We did it.
We did it, Kathy. Pass it back. Very good. Face down. Okay, now that you understand, we'll do it again. We'll make it a little more interesting. Any number 1 to 52. But you don't want to say 52. I toss her the deck. Nobody cares. Somebody in the audience call a number.
36.
Okay, is that what you want? 39, called first. Call it. Count them.
1, 2,
It's his
3,
fault, not mine.
4, 5,
I like these long
7,
breaks.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39.
But we did it again, Kathy. There you go. Mix them all up. And people are always asking, why would you waste your life? I'll show you one of the purposes. Give me a number of players in a card game. 3, 4, 5. What do you want? 5 players. And Laura, where do you want to sit? 1, 2, 3, or 4? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5?
2.
5 and 2, okay? And the only way you're allowed to shuffle in the casinos, high-stake games, you want to keep the deck face down on the table. And I like to do what's called a scramble and then finish it with just a straight cut. Take the deck, and we're going to deal them face up just so we can see what's happening. In the game, they'd actually be dealt face down. Deal a card off the top right here, face up, player 1. Right here. And face up number 2 is you. What's that?
Queen of spades.
You chose the queen. That's the wild card, right? Player 3 right here. Player 4. Player 5. Player 1. Start here again. 1, 2. What's that?
Queen of diamonds.
We're partners, don't forget. Keep going. Player 3. Player 4. Player 5. Player 1. Player 2. What's that?
Queen of clubs.
Start betting. Pete has money. Keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going. 1, 2.
1, 2. Queen of hearts.
We win, we win. Shuffle them up, shuffle them up, shuffle them up. Did you understand what happened there? I shuffled her cards back in the deck exactly where she chose, 2nd, 6th, 11th, 16th position, and she dealt them to prove it. That's all. D stands for dream, E stands for excellent, A stands for analysis. We must analyze our obstacles, we must analyze our assets. Now, my first big obstacle to deal with was the losing of my sight. As I said, I was 9 years old when a disease began ravaging the retina in my eyes. And the same thing happened to both me and my sister, but at separate times from each other. We're sitting in our classroom. 1 minute I could see the chalkboard like a stroke, the next minute I could not. Until our aggravation, we were both shipped off to a special school where they had what was called a VH room. VH stood for visually handicapped. I hated the word handicapped, and I despised the word blind. The head of the VH department was a wonderful man named Ed Bryan, along with what I thought was around a 100-year-old volunteer, Mrs. Smith. Mr. Bryan would say, "Ricky, you need to learn how to read Braille. It will open up to you a world of knowledge." I would argue back, "Mr. Bryan, the Braille Bible stands 3 feet high. I would need a wheelbarrow to carry around one book. How stupid is that? I'm not learning Braille. Don't ask me again." Accepting help from others was a weakness, and it was a weakness I was not going to admit to. What I did admit to was Mr. Bryan's magic tricks. He would show us the coolest magic tricks. I would then perform my card magic for the class. And Mrs. Smith asked me, she said, "Ricky, why do you like cards so much?" I said, "Because I don't have to see. I can feel what I'm doing." Mrs. Smith performed a kindness that really set my destiny. She found this old book at a garage sale, bought it for a nickel, called Expert at the Card Table. And she recorded excerpts on this giant 7-inch reel-to-reel tape recorder and said I could take it home and practice. The techniques and terms were so technical, she had no idea she was teaching an elementary school kid how to cheat at cards. Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Some of the sighted students were not very nice to us in the VH department. One bully would flip the bird in front of my face and say, "Hey, Magoo, how many fingers am I holding up?" While I was distracted, another bully would pick the wallet out of my back pocket. He would dangle it in front of my face, say, "Hey, got any money, Magoo?" And when I'd grab for my wallet, he'd throw it over my head to his friend behind me in a cruel game of keep away. And the tease turned ugly when they started slapping me across the face going, "Can you see to grab your money, blind boy?" The other kid jumped on my back, drove me to the ground, kicked me in the ribs, and ran off laughing, saying, "Thanks for the money, Magoo." As I laid there weeping, I thought about my new favorite show on TV, The Green Hornet, starring Bruce Lee as Kato. And I thought, one day, I'm going to learn karate and kick in their faces. Home life was not much better. Having defective kids was loathsome to our mother, and she was selfish with everything from her affection to feeding us. I was always starving. 9th grade gym class, I weighed in at 68 pounds. During lunch, I would stand at the lunch tray drop-off and ask the other students if I could have their trashed leftovers. And on really bad days, I would take discarded banana peels, take the school stapled mustard, cover the banana peels, and eat them. That wasn't the worst of it. Cemented under our one-bedroom house was the room I lived in, and it could not be sealed. And during the wintertime, I would have as much as 2 to 6 inches of water under my bed. And that created mold that led to torturous asthma attacks that would last for weeks on end. And no matter how much pain I was in, my mother would never spend a dime on a doctor call. When I was coming to terms with the rejection of my mother and the loss of my sight, on Christmas Eve, my aunt's house catches on fire, and my uncle and 4 of my cousins are burned alive. My paternal grandfather was killed when his wagon overturned and he was crushed to death. My dear sweet grandma, she remarried. She came home from work to make lunch for her new husband. He met her at the door with a roofing knife, jabbed it in her throat, and cut off her head. My sister Deborah, my best friend and my biggest fan, she would tell her girlfriends, my brother's so good at cards, he never loses. She's walking home from school and was hit and killed by a 21-year-old drunk driver. And to put a cherry on top of the disastrous cake, it turns out our mother was having an affair with a sailor and ran off with him. Those are some pretty dirty deals. I'm going to show you some deals I could use to take your money. What's that card on top, Kathy?
It's the 7 of Hearts.
7 of Hearts. Number of perfection. I want the 7 of Hearts. So what happens is I deal to the other players. Only when I'm ready do I deal the 7 of Hearts. Watch face up. See how the card sits there. But you have to deal as neatly as if you're dealing from the top. Watch again. Watch again. I'll deal it in slow motion. 7 on top. See, I hit the other players. Only when I'm ready do I deal the 7. Watch face up. See how the card sits there as the second card is dealt. Here's one-handed. Now when the 7 is face down, you can't tell you've been swindled. That's called dealing seconds. Isn't that fun? Thank you. Thank you. Make sure they're all face down. Give me a shuffle. I'm going to have a little fun with your wild cards. I'm going to try to triple cut the deck and cut one of your wild cards. What's that?
Queen of Cups.
We did it. They're a triple cut. What's that?
Queen of Hearts.
We did it again. Triple cut. What's that?
Queen of Spades.
And you did shuffle the deck. Watch. You did shuffle the deck, right? Watch. You did shuffle the deck. Okay. Pay attention. Watch carefully. Yes? All right. Thank you. That's just pretty. Put them back in the deck, face down, shuffle about. My wife likes to say, you can't conquer what you're not willing to confront. Again, you can't conquer what you're not willing to confront. When I first started losing my sight, I was really mad, did a lot of stupid things. But when I accepted the challenge, the loss of vision turned out to be a blessing from above and one of my greatest assets. We talked about obstacles. Let's talk about assets. If we defeat adversity with honor and integrity, we can turn adversity into an asset, and that can lead to prosperity. Adversity leads to prosperity. When the rest of my vision went south, I was blessed in 2 ways. One was with an enhanced sense of touch, and the other was the ability to see without sight. Now that sounds weird, see without sight. I have a very rare visual condition called Charles-Bonnet syndrome. The acronym is CBS. CBS is a condition where a person who has lost their sight should see nothing, blackness. For some unexplainable reason, still sees colors, patterns, shapes, images. And the thing is, I don't see these images in the back of the brain. I look at them. I see them in front of me just as clearly as you see what's in front of you. And these reds, blues, yellows, greens are just as vivid if my eyes are open, closed, if it's day or pitch black night locked in a vault. Here's the cool thing. I can organize these images into creating vision. Let's say I want to remember a phone number. I can write the phone number down in there. I'll see it floating in the air, just like you would see it on a computer screen. I take a picture of it because I have what's called an eidetic memory. I never forget it. And the scientists say the reason why I can see without a retina, which is impossible, is that my haptic and tactile neural network, that's the part of the brain that relates to touch, is hungry and it was looking for other places within my vision to colonate. And it basically bullied its way into my visual network, which in the brain was still fully intact. And those two parts of the brain have now merged together and are now resonating as one. And using past visual images combined with the touch, along with the CBS, instead of living in a world of blackness, I live in this beautiful world of virtual reality. And it shows you the power of the brain and how it can adapt to different challenges. I'm going to give you a demonstration of seeing without seeing. We are going to play a game I created when I was 11 years old at the School for the Visually Impaired called Batty because it drives you batty. Is that an A?
Yes.
I'll make it. Is it facing the camera? Is that a B?
Yes.
And a C? Yes?
Yes.
And we'll start with a low level, 2, 3. There's only thousands of combinations, 3, 4, 5. We'll start with a 5. Is that a 5?
Yes.
Put it face down on top of the C. Okay. Now, are those face up?
Yep.
Yes? Yep. Okay. Turn them face down, mix them up, and put them face down on the 5. Mix them up and put them face down right here on the 5. Okay, that's good. Now the object for me is to get those cards from a mixed up state on C in order on a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's only one rule. I cannot put a high card on a low card as I move them between the 3 paths. And she's going to see the cards. I'm going to tell her what to do, and we'll see if she can keep up with me seeing while I play the game in my virtual reality. Turn over the first card and tell me what it is.
2.
Put it on A. Next card.
4.
Put it on B. Turn over the, what is that, the 1?
3.
3, put it on the 4. Put the 2 on the 3. Put the 2 on the, turn over the 1, put it on the 2. Turn, okay, so you have 4, 3, 2, 1 in the middle, yes?
Yes.
Turn over the 5, put it on A.
Yeah.
Put the 1 on the C. Put the 2 on the A. Put the 1 on the 2. Okay, put the 3, is that the 3 here?
Yes.
Put the 3 on the C.
Yeah.
Put the 1 in the middle. Put the 2 on the 3. Put the 1 on the 2. Put the 4 on the 5. Put the 1 on the 4. Put the 2 in the middle. Put the 1 on the 2. Put the 3 on the 4. Put the 1 on the C. Put the 2 on the 3. Put the 1 on the 2. Did she do it? Give her a hand. Good job, Laura. I've actually done a level 15, which is between 16,000 and 32,000 moves, depending on the shuffle. And it took me 7 hours and 5 minutes to resolve. I will never do that again. Because it exponentially gets more different. Every time you add a card, it doubles. Add another card, it doubles again. So it's fun. And that's one of the apps that will be coming out that you'll be able to play on all your mobile devices sometime in the next year, along with other properties that we are developing. Okay, I think it's time to get to know my little ladies a bit better. I'm going to ask a few questions, and if you think there's any way I can answer the question, prevaricate.
Okay.
That means lie.
Okay.
Thank you. First of all, do you want to be on the top or bottom? Kathy?
Top.
Top. The shark is on the bottom. Okay. Did you graduate from high school? Lie if you like.
Yes.
And how old were you when you graduated?
From high school?
Yes.
18.
18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And what month were you born?
May.
M-A-Y. May. A May Day, baby. And have you ever been kissed?
Yes.
Was your kiss, your first kiss with or without a tongue?
Without.
Without. Okay. If you could have dinner with any famous person alive or dead, who would it be?
Oh. Pierce Brosnan.
Say it.
Pierce Brosnan.
How many letters in whatever you just said?
I'm not sure.
Make it up.
5.
5, okay. Well, you can change your mind if you want. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. As you stare into what's his name's eyes, hoping for a kiss with a tongue, what color are those eyes? Make it up if you like.
Blue.
Okay, I can spell that one. B-L-U-E. All right. 5 random numbers. And okay, help me make sure I don't make a mess here. These are all, my pile's correct, yes. And you chose to be on the top. We're going to see who has the best poker hand. Kathy, what are those 2 cards?
The King of Hearts and the King of Diamonds.
Oh, you're a good card caller. What are those 2 cards?
The Ace of Diamonds and the Ace of Hearts.
Oh, 2 aces and 2 kings. That is good. What is that?
The Ace of Clubs.
A full house again. Again, the best full house possible. And 5 random numbers, and you chose to put the old card shark on the bottom. What'd you deal me? What's that card?
The 10 of Spades.
What is that?
The Jack of
What is that? Thank you. Are these all One Direction?
Wow, amazing.
Okay. Make sure I'm not making a mess out of your mess. Make sure they're all face down. Shuffle them up. Do your thing. All right. Well, let's see here. Because of my touch with the cards, I've had the privilege of entertaining the rich, famous, and infamous from around the world. Because of media, I've been seated over 200 countries by over 1 billion people. And one of the coolest things that I can say during my career is that I've been kidnapped and hugged by the 3-time boxing heavyweight champion of the world, a man who became a very cool friend, Muhammad Ali. I was in a casino when 4 big African-American men snatched me. They shoved me out the back end of the casino, stuffed me in a limo. The limo zipped away, pulled it behind another casino. They shoved me in this giant room where Ali came running up, threw his arms around me in a big bear hug and goes, "Richard, how you doing? It's so good to see you again." Ali had me snatched off the street because he heard how I could find randomly selected cards under seemingly impossible conditions. You want me to show you how I'm finding cards? Yeah. People find it fun. Say a random number.
9.
9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's your card. And what was your name next to Pete?
David.
Oh, I should remember that. David, pick a number, any number.
4.
1, 2, 3, 4. There's your card, David. I'll just leave it there. Peter, say a number. It's still Pete?
12.
12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Peter, see it? And say a number, Laura.
7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there's your card. Okay. And once again, everybody look at your cards. I'll show Pete and David their cards again. And the ladies show the audience your cards. And Laura, say stop, Laura.
Stop.
Put your card back, face down on the deck. Your job, Laura, is follow your card. Here we go, Laura. Follow your card. 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 Follow. All right. And Pete, are you with us still, Pete?
Yes.
Are you sure? Pete, say stop.
Stop.
Can you grab Pete's card, show it to the camera once again. Put it back on the deck. Thank you. All right. And whoops, that was a messy shuffle. Let's give a few cuts. And your job is to follow your cards. Some people think they're on the top or maybe on the bottom, but that would be kind of cheesy, huh, Pete? Put David's card back, flash it to the camera. Put it back. Thank you, ma'am. And you have a card also, yes? Show you everybody. Put your card on top. Where's your card right now?
On top.
I can find it that fast. So good, David. Do me a favor. Cut the deck in half and put the other half on top when you're done. Finish it. Roti. And who should we start with? We'll start with the ladies. We'll start with Miss Kathy. Kathy, again, cut the deck and finish it. Tell me when you're done.
Done.
And Kathy, did you cut your card? Yes, that's your card? Yes? Yes or no?
No.
No? You need my help.
Yes.
Okay. Would you like me to cut your card to the top, bottom, or right out of the middle? You choose.
Middle, please.
Right out of the middle. Okay. She's a middle job. Watch carefully. Slow motion. Slow motion. And do you remember what your card was?
The 10 of spades.
It would. Is that it? Wow, we did it. Hey. Cut the deck for David. Cut the deck and finish it. Finish it. And David, did she get lucky? David, where do you want? Top, bottom, or middle?
Middle.
Another middle job, David. Do you remember your card, David? Yes or no? Cut the deck for Pete, Laura. Tell me when you're done.
Done.
And Pete, did she get lucky? No. No. Pete, this is getting boring. What's your favorite number under 10, Pete?
6.
Do me a favor. Take the deck. Take that. Count down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and flip over number 6.
2, 3, 4, 5. Flip over number 6.
Number 6, yeah, huh? What is that?
It's the ace of diamonds.
What was your card? Yes? Shuffle them all up. Shuffle them all up. Shuffle them all up. Yeah, shuffle them all up. Shuffle them all up. Oh, did you have a card?
Yes.
Okay. Shuffle her card back where I want it, okay? Don't forget your card. I forgot your card. D stands for dream. E stands for excellent. A stands for analysis. L stands for loyalty. We must be loyal to values such as honesty and integrity. In this next story, see if I was not deceiving myself in believing I was being honest. It's 1982. This lawyer approaches me. He introduces himself as Tony. He said, I've seen your work. Your moves are invisible. He said, I want you to help me take down 2 lawyers and a banker. He said, I know there's a cheat in that game, and I want you to help me flesh them out. He said, you don't have to feel guilty about cheating these guys, because we're all lawyers and bankers. We're all in the business of cheating people. These were his exact words. He said, if you ever use a lawyer, here's a chance to get some of your extorted funds back. I thought to myself, a cheater cheating cheaters. You can't get any more honest than that. I decided to help him out. At the game, right up front, I approached the vision situation by using my fallback excuse that my roommate stepped on my glasses and somebody will have to call off the face-up cards. Tony and I, we cleaned everyone out without any suspicion until the last hand. And this is the reason why it was the last hand. I picked up the deck and I cracked out a turn. Hey, there's 2 cards missing. The banker leans over and says, how could you pick up a deck and tell 2 cards are missing? I thought, oops. I guess that showed a little level of skill. I started hemming and hawing as I'm feeling around the table, alibi, and anybody can tell that. It was a catered game, and I bumped the placemat next to the banker. Under that placemat were the 2 cards. That lawyer was a holdout cheat. The banker points an angry finger at Tony and says, what's going on here? This guy's hiding cards under his mat, and your new friend here can pick up the deck and tell the 2 cards are missing. What gives? As Paul Harvey would say, later I'll tell you the rest of the story. If we choose to cheat to reach the top, even 5 aces will be a loser. Grab those cards in the middle. What do you have?
Ace of clubs, ace of hearts, ace of diamonds.
Grab that. Hand me your deck. Hand me your deck. Thank you. There's an Old West tombstone that reads, played 5 aces, now plays a heart. What was your card you had earlier?
Oh, ace of clubs, ace of spades.
The 5th ace, bang, you're dead. Shuffle them up, shuffle your cards. Because of my card skills, I could be a very rich dead man. Started in the early 80s, my notoriety with the cards began filtering down to the ears of the underworld. And I've been wined and dined by a number of powerful crime families. One mobster, after seeing what I could do with the cards, said, we'll give you $1,000 a day to come work for us. I said, no thanks. He said, $2,000 a day. Again, I politely refused. He said, how much will it cost to buy you? I instantly had visions of waking up with a horse's head lying under my bed. Godfather movie. Another offer came from the Middle East. A party of 5 men of Middle Eastern descent offered me up to $1 million to go with them to the Middle East and play cards against the oil tycoons. Again, I said, no, thank you. This next mobster was very rich, very powerful, and over the course of a number of years made me a series of offers to cheat. We're dining in his beautiful mountaintop mansion. And I told him about the $1 million offer I had from the Middle East, and he told me, don't take it. He said, in a situation like that, you'll be 100% used. He added, you understand what I'm trying to tell you? For those that don't know what 100% used means, it means they kill you when they're done with you. I told him, I know what it means. He said, those Middle East oilmen, he said, they own half the world. We own the other half. He said, we can arrange to have the card games take place in the United States, and we'll back you here. You know what I thought at that moment? Wow, I'll be 100% used in my own country. I'll die here. Thank you very much. I'm going to show you why these mobsters wanted to buy me. The biggest threat to a casino is what's called an inside man. You have a $500,000, I'm your inside man. We'll deal a hand of blackjack. Pete, give me a number of players.
4.
Where do you want to sit? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
1.
Right out of the chute.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, and we have the dealer. Right. And you chose number 1. What's your first card?
Ace of spades.
What's your hand? Tell everybody what your 2 cards are.
Oh, sorry, queen of clubs.
Blackjack, blackjack. We just split $1.25 million. When I want to be nice, I can be nice. Shuffle your cards. So you follow that, okay? Okay. She shuffled. She chose how many players where she wanted to win. I took care of it. That's it. Yeah. Let's see here. With those last offers I mentioned, I remain loyal to my values of being honest. Now I'm going to tell you where I was not honest and it cost me big time. It was Memorial Day, 1982. I'm with my driver having my usual water on the rocks when this woman sits down next to me. She introduces herself as Jana Lee. We start talking. She asked me out. I learned that she grew up in the entertainment business. Regular guests at her home were Buddy Epson from the Beverly Hillbillies, Walt Disney, and other famous people. Then her dad suddenly died at 49. Her mother, with her daughter's birthday presents around the body, put a bullet in her head, and in the suicide note, blamed Jana Lee for the death. Jana Lee refused any help, and at 13 years old, ended up on the streets of Hollywood, where a pimp plied her with drugs and raped her over and over, and that led to drugs, drinking, prostitution, and teenage porn. I decided to help her out. I bought her new clothes. I paid to get her professional psychological counseling, and she continually suckered my male ego by calling me her rescuing angel. Then out of the blue, she proposes marriage to me, and she promised she would stop drinking. That was her wicked vice of choice, was her darn drinking. And there's this voice in my head going, Turner, you're being conned, you're being suckered, you're being seduced, run. Did I listen to the voice?
No.
Nope. Even the psychologist privately told me he had doubts of a successful union once he saw the depth of her psychopathology. And here I am, Mr. Tough karate guy, but when it came to women, I was a wimp, a wuss, a sucker. And the Patsy said, sure, why not? Let's get married. We were wed. 1984, Jana Lee we're having dinner at a restaurant. This guy approaches our table. He says, you're Richard Turner. You once cheated me out of a bunch of money. I'm the banker that wanted to know how you could pick up a deck and tell 2 cards were missing. I thought, I'm going to get in a fight right here in front of everyone. All of a sudden, he grabbed my hand. He started shaking it vigorously and said, I saw you on That's Incredible. That was fantastic. He said, now I understand how you could pick up a deck and tell 2 cards were missing. He said, I just want to tell you, it was such a privilege to have been cheated by you. He turned and disappeared. I know it. You have stories to tell. I grabbed my cloth napkin and I started wiping down my right hand. Jana Lee leans over and says, Snidely, are you afraid of germs or something? I said, no. I don't like to shake hands because people's moisture or sweat can affect my touch with the cards. Shortly after the run-in with the banker, Janet Lee tells me she has an old client that wants to talk to me about playing in private games in Sin City. She sweetly said, he's talking about $300,000. I said, Sin City is Las Vegas. Not a smart place to do business if you're planning on doing anything underhanded. Tell him, forget it, go away, I'm not interested. But Janet Lee got drunk and screamed and cursed at me for turning down the offer. And I have to say, to get out of the house, I started playing cards. I'd play 3, 4, 5 days a week. I didn't care if it was $1 ante or pot limit. And I have to confess, not every card came off the top. I was a cheat. And because of this, I was now being pursued. 1985, I'm on a flight, headed to a performance. And the stranger in the seat next to me lowers his paper and says, hello, Mr. Turner. I'd like to talk to you about doing a little business together. I said, what kind of business? He said, profitable business, very profitable. I said, how profitable? He said, $200,000 to $300,000 for your participation. I knew what he was going to say, but I still asked, to do what? He said, we're going to play cards for money, big money. I said, where? He said, South Africa, Sun City. I listened to what he said, made no deals. The plane landed. I went our separate ways. I thought that was the end of it. That was just the beginning. This guy stalked me across the country. He knew about my personal likes and dislikes. He would call me on private lines when I'd be 1,000 miles from home. I just finished a media interview. I'm in my hotel room. The phone rings. Now, to protect the innocent, that's sort of me. We're going to call the guy Mr. Diamond because he was a diamond dealer out of Africa. I answer the phone. He says, Richard, it's me, Diamond. I'm downstairs. Let me buy you dinner. I wanted to see what the guy was up to, so I had a chauffeur escort me to his table. Diamond didn't rise or offer to shake hands. He just said, Richard, have a seat. As soon as I sat down, he held his hand up in front of my face and said, I know your aversion to, well, you know, shaking hands. He snapped, take this. He handed me a 5-carat diamond pinky ring he said was worth $70,000. He said, it's a gift, a token of my good faith. I knew if I accepted that ring, I'd be married to the guy. And in a relationship like that, when it's time to go your own separate ways, the big D word doesn't stand for divorce, stands for death. I gave the ring back, said, that's okay. He changed the subject. He said, you're in the martial arts, well-trained. He said, you want to take someone out, this is what you do. We're one of those little 2-person tables. He casually reached across the table, put his hand around my neck and started squeezing. And then without warning, he jerked his head a hairbreadth from my face. He says, what you do is you take your thick skull, drive it in the punk's nose. I call it Glasgow kiss, West Texas takedown. He says sometimes if you're lucky, the punk will bite through their own tongue. That was a very memorable meal. The thought of chopped tongue, appetizing. We were getting ready to leave. He said, hold it, Richard, you're in the entertainment business. Perhaps you'd like to be on the Tonight Show. He gave me a piece of paper that had 3 numbers on it. Johnny Carson's business number, Carson's personal number, and an answering service. He said, when you're ready to do business, leave a message and I'll get back with you. When I got home, I gave the number to Chuck Curtis. Chuck headed up one of the most successful SWAT teams in the history of law enforcement, taking down 4 serial murderers. It turns out it was Carson's private number, not an easy thing to get. Chuck said, with these mobsters following you, you need to be able to protect yourself. He had me out on the sheriff's firing range. He'd throw a rock at a target. I would aim and fire towards the sound. He then armed me with a Walther PPK. Now there's a bright idea, give a blind guy a gun. Again, I'm on the road. I walk into this restaurant. Sitting there is Diamond. He says, Richard, it's me, Diamond. Let me buy you a drink. I reluctantly sat down. This time he tells me how it cost him $400,000 to bribe a judge to make a murder rap go away. I said, $400,000 is a lot of money. He said, not for a judge. Then came the most frightening moment of all. He said, if you ever want to make Janet Lee go away, I can make that happen for you. He said, there'd be an accident, an explosion, boom. No one would know you were behind the killing. Capiche? He said, I just wanted to let you know that's another service I could provide to you if you're interested. Now I was scared, really scared. I knew he was trying to either entice or intimidate me into accepting his offer to cheat. Well, after the incident with the banker, I decided no more partners for me. I'm a single kind of guy. I stood up from the table, did the best I could to stare him down and said, "Don't ever contact me again, capiche?" And I left there scared, really scared. Like I said, at that time, I was playing a lot of cards. I had this one wise guy. He owned a large commercial construction company. He wanted to cut double or nothing for the high card. He cut a 10, and I cut, what's that? Ace. He said, let's double it again. He cut a king. I cut, what's that?
Ace of clubs.
He said, let's double it again. Double it again. He cut a 9. What's that?
Ace of hearts.
Watch again, watch again, watch again, watch again, watch again, watch again. Again, he wanted to double. He cut another king. What's that?
Ace of diamonds.
That night, we doubled over a dozen times before he finally surrendered, exponentially multiplying my wins. Put them back in the deck, face down, shuffle them up. At one point, I owned 4 properties, 4 exotic cars, and I couldn't drive a 1, fine art, antiques, bronzes, and nutrition stores. Then came the 1988 market crash, down with the assets, and the rest I surrendered when Janet Lee sued for divorce. Like King David with Bathsheba, I screwed up. I billed myself as an honest cheat, and I was not. I prayed to God to forgive me for my cheating and my other dishonest behavior. You and I are going to have some fun together. What do you say?
Sounds great.
Sounds great. All right. Okay. Shuffle the cards. Just any way you want. Okay. Now set your deck right here.
Right.
All right. And, okay, we give the deck a few cuts. Now reach across, give my deck a few cuts. Tell me when you're done.
Yeah.
Okay. Reach in the deck, pull out a card. Look at it.
Do you want me to show everyone?
Yeah, please, yeah. You should recognize it.
Can't see what the camera is.
Okay. Okay, put it 1 inch over the deck.
Yeah.
Drop it.
Okay.
Got it. Cut the deck. Finish it.
Yeah.
Switch. Okay. Give it, let's do this right now. Give it an overhand shuffle like this. Okay. Give it a casino shuffle. Okay. Give it another one. Okay, let's try not to do too fast. And let's try that one-handed job again, okay? Go like this. Let's see if we do a nice, pretty one. You got it?
Beautifully. Yeah.
Beautifully. Can you give it a one-hand cut? Okay. Okay. Now, reach across, cut my deck, and finish it.
Yeah.
You got it?
Got it.
Let me have your deck. Okay. Now, find your card.
Oh, I'd almost forgotten it again.
Oh my gosh, 2 times in a row. I could have just claimed the first 10 was your card.
I'm concentrating. Oh, I think I've got it.
Okay, what is it? Show everybody.
Yeah, it's the 3 of clubs.
Okay, well, I like the 3 of clubs. What's that?
Just the 3 of clubs?
There we go, there we go. Shuffle out, shuffle out. Okay. Okay, here we have the deck. Okay, got it? Oh, yeah, shuffle your card, shuffle out. All right. And a perfect match. In 1990, I meet this beautiful blue-eyed blonde from the mountains of Montana, a mountain girl, a country girl. I told her I was in the Cuyamaca Mountains hunting rattlesnakes. She said, I was in those same mountains with my brother, also looking for rattlesnakes. I thought, wow, this is a woman after my own heart, adventurous. I asked her out. Guess what our first date was? Rattlesnake hunting. Call me romantic. It's true. She hates to admit it. No. Well, we found no rattlesnakes, but after 2 years of roller coaster riding, bungee cord jumping, karate and weight training, mountain climbing, hunting sharks, surviving a 7.3 earthquake where everything around us came crashing down, we were married. For the past 32 years, I've been a very blessed man. Thank you. Yes, I'm one for my wife, Kim. My treasure of all treasures. And we love each other as much now as we did then. And Yeah, and she's also the mother of our brilliant son, Asa. His name is spelled A-S-A. His middle name is Spades, Asa Spades. Cool name, huh? It's true. Are you ready to hear who set me up with Diamond? However, I'm suspecting a lot of you were a lot smarter than I was and have already figured it out for yourself. It's 2012. I start receiving call after call from this angry mobster-sounding character looking for Jana Lee. I told him over and over I haven't seen her in years. I checked out her Facebook page, and she had listed 2 and only 2 relatives. Me, her ex-husband of all people, and her sister, Kim Marie Miller Turner, my wife. That was disturbing, creepy. She was either stalking us or at best tracking us. A few months later, January 2013, my wife Kim receives a call from a major crime division detective who tells Kim, "I'm sorry to inform you, but your sister, Jana Lee, was found dead." And of course, Kim is in shock. She tells the detective, "Jana Lee's not my sister. She's my husband's ex-wife." I get on the phone with the guy. After I get the rundown, I asked them how they found out she passed away. They said they received a call that the house next door smelled like there was a dead body inside. So I sent over a detective. He kicked in the wall. They kicked in the door. Outran 3 starving dogs that went feral. There was feces everywhere. The place looked like it had been searched. Drawers, cupboards emptied out, trash all over the floor. When they finally found the body, there was so little left, they figured she had been dead for about 5 weeks. And the thought of 3 starving dogs with nothing to eat but a dead, yikes. After I got off the phone with the detective, I told Kim what he said. She said, "I guess I can now tell you who I think set you up with that gangster." I said, "What gangster?" She said, "The one that wanted you to play cards in Africa and knew all about your weird idiosyncrasies." I said, "You mean Diamond, the one that tried to get me to sell my soul for $300,000. I said, "I figured he must have had a private investigator following me." She said, "That can't be it. He knew too many personal details." I asked, "Well, then who?" She said, "See if you can put the pieces together yourself." She asked me, "Who booked your flight next to Diamond?" I thought for a minute. I said, "Jana Lee booked all my flights." "Did Jana Lee know what cities you were in?" I said, "Yes." "Did she know in what hotel rooms you were staying?" I said, "Of course." "Did you ever tell her you did not like to shake hands?" I remember the run-in with the banker. And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Remember when Jana Lee told you about an offer to play cards in private games in Vegas, also known as Sin City?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Do you think you misheard Sin City when actually each time she said Sun City because they sounded so similar?" It hit me like a ton of bricks. When I put Sin City next to Sun City with all these supposed random run-ins with Diamond, I realized how I had again been a sucker, and if I would have accepted that offer to cheat, no doubt I would have been 100% used, and today, worm food. D stands for dreams, E stands for excellent, A stands for analysis, L stands for loyalty, T stands for tenacity. One of my favorite words. What is tenacity? Tenacity breaks down the barriers that stand between us and our dream. As I said, one of my other dreams was to kick like Chuck Norris. Chuck was also teased and harassed as a kid. And like Master Norris, I started karate training. My karate instructor was Master John Murphy. Murphy took me from a 110-pound, scrawny, asthma-ridden, at that time only a legally blind wimp, to a Master 6-degree black belt. And Murphy didn't want to deal with lawsuits, so most of the testing and training took place across the border in Tijuana. And one year at the Tijuana Forum, I was one of 3 people that backed Chuck Norris in a showdown against a group calling themselves the Federation. I realized if I was ever going to survive fighting 10 men in a row, I had to overcome the paralyzing effects of fear. Like they say on the old TV show, That's Incredible, don't try this at home. I started climbing 1,000-foot cliffs without equipment. I learned to swing on the trapeze. I would take 40-foot high falls. I would tightrope around the rim of multi-story buildings, cliff dove, and hunted sharks. All true. Murphy said, you also need to have a body of steel. I flashed back to my childhood memories of Charlton Heston, chained to the ship, pulling his oars with those big bulging biceps. And that image of strength always encouraged me to want to be stronger, so I trained harder. Murphy pushed me hard. These were some of my records. I could do 500 push-ups, 12 minutes, 9 seconds. I topped out at 340 on the bench press. I could military press and curl more than my body weight, and I could do the splits across 2 chairs and touch my head to the floor. It took 13 years and 3 months of constant training before I finally developed enough guts to take on the 10 men. And because of my card fame, the pressure was on me big time. The TV and print media were there, including one of the largest papers in the country called the Los Angeles Times. Before the fights, Murphy said, relax. All you have to do is come out alive with spirit. I asked, exactly what does that mean? Alive with spirit. He said, even if your teeth have been punched down your throat, you're still smiling. During the tests, I hit some of these guys so hard, I knocked them silly. But they were fresh, and I was not. When it was all said and done, I had 1 bruise, started at my head, ended at my toe. I had a smashed bloody nose, a ruptured right eardrum. I had my groin kicked up into my throat. In the 7th round, I caught a roundhouse kick right here, breaking my arm. I fought 3.5 rounds with a broken right arm. But I earned my black belt. And the next day, the whole bloody mess was spread across the front page of the Los Angeles Times sports section. All right, are you ready to have some more fun? Thank you. This is the sister to the shell game called 3-Card Monte, and you cannot be oblivious. Have you ever seen it before, Kathy?
I don't think so.
Okay. Kathy, what is that card?
It's 2 of diamonds.
You're correct. What is that card?
I can't say, sorry. It's the 2 of hearts.
Two twos. Everybody, tell her what's that card? Money, money, money. Kathy, Laura, keep your eye glued to that king. Do not take your eye off the king. Let's say you're going to put, say, $2,000 on the table. Anybody think they know where that king is right now? Call it out if you think you know. If you're going to put money, where do you think? Anybody? Right side? That's 2,000.
Your left.
Oh, my left. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think.
What do you think it
Your
is?
left.
Are you going to say it?
Yeah.
Everyone else? Any dissenters?
Top of the deck.
Who said that? Who's that? What's your name over there?
No.
Bill?
No.
No. No, that's not very nice of you, no. No, who invited you? No says top of the deck. What's that card, Laura? What's that card? Are these all face up?
Yes, they are.
No was a big yes for me. $2,000, no. No, we'll give you a few warm-ups. Here we go. Thank you, No. We'll give you a few warm-ups. Now, Kathy is really good at this game. Kathy, would you tell Noah where that king is? 1, 2, or 3, out loud.
They're face up at the moment.
It should be easier that way. 1, 2, or 3.
You give me the numbers again.
1, 2, or 3. Where's the king? 3. That would have been $2,000. No. She took her time. She got it. But I have to tell you, no, 2 out of 3 times people get it when they're face up. It's true. There are the exceptions. Here we go. Pair of deuces. Pair of deuces. Cowboy. Laura.
Yes.
You help Noah. 1, 2, 3. Are you following? Where is it?
3.
No needs your help. Let's put money back on the table. Say $1,000 a throw. No. Let's start working that debt off. Pair of deuces. Pair of deuces. Kathy, you help him keep track of the king. Are you following, Kathy?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Tell him, Kathy.
3.
Kathy. Oh, Kathy. As soon as we put money on the table, you start screwing up. $3,000. Well, at least it's his money we're playing with. Okay. Watch again. Pair of deuces. No. Pair of deuces. Everybody keep your eye on that cowboy. Laura, are you following?
Yes.
Tell him 1, 2, 3.
1.
$4,000. I better slow it down for the losers. Winner. Loser. Loser. Now, are you following or are you laughing, Kathy? Remember, the king wins. Whatever you do, don't take a deuce, okay? Tell him, Kathy. Laura.
2.
You see, you were so close. You were right next to it, Laura. 7,000, 5,000, 6,000. Okay, when you watch, just remember this. Remember this. When you pick a king, that's when you win the money, okay? When you pick a deuce, I win the money. Kathy, give it a go.
2.
You need help. How about this? How about this, Kathy? How about this? Kathy, what is that card? What is in the corner?
It's a bend.
A bend. That's a good name for it. A bend. Kathy, this is in case you go to a place called New York. It's a foreign country, Kathy. Have you ever heard of New York?
No.
And I won't move until you're ready. Okay, when you're ready, Kathy, say go. I don't want you to say I want too fast. Tell me when you're ready.
Go.
Where is it, Kathy?
2.
There you go. Oh, Kathy, I hate to say it. You are all in debt. Here, I'll give you a souvenir. Something to remind you should never play this game. Kathy, you want a king or 2? Which one?
King.
Take it. It cost you more than it paid you. Show everybody. What'd you get?
I got a 2.
Another $1,000 on the way out the door. Okay. Hand me your card face up.
There you go.
Okay. Oh, okay. Laura, we're going to give you a chance to clear the debt for poor old everybody, because everybody's in debt. We'll go double or nothing on a deuce. Flip a 2, the debt clears, other way doubles. 1, 2, or 3. You have 1 second. Turn over the debt, the 2, and there's no debt. Go and turn it over out loud. What is it?
Queen of Spades.
Turn them all over.
Ace of Diamonds, Ace of Hearts.
Look under here. Look under here. Say, when the money gets big, I cheat. I gave you fair warning. You know what that makes me? An honest cheat. Yeah. Anyway, thank you. That was a little 3-card money for you. In closing, to reach the top, you must be willing to enter the University of Adversity. When the rest of my vision went south, and I had no retina left, and my ego refused to accept that I had any weaknesses. That caused friction with my family, friends, and my wife. Here I am holding a master ranking in the martial arts, taking on 10 men, yet fearing something as simple as help from others. My wife's words, you can't conquer what you're not willing to confront, really hit home. When I was willing to be more inclusive and accept help from others, it set me free. We all have weaknesses, and there are times we need help from others. And when we're willing to accept that help, when we actually need it, we can move on with our lives. Also, success must not be the end game. Success must evolve into significance. My beautiful wife and I, we've been involved with many ministries. And we've had the privilege of inspiring hundreds of thousands of students, disabled military vets, even put a smile on the face of men in their last day of dying from AIDS. In the game of life, stay focused on your game. Don't let anyone tell you you can't play or something's impossible. Have a healthy disregard for anyone that tells you something's impossible. Take possible out of impossible. Take possible out of impossible. I understand that time to time, we're all dealt a bad hand or two, but it's how we approach that hand. If we choose to fold wine, sit on our pity pot, or go all in, that's what separates the losers from the winners. Respectful success comes from those who go for their dream, achieve a state of excellence, analyze their obstacles and assets, stay loyal to virtues such as honesty and integrity, and have the tenacity to break down any barrier. DEALT, winning with the hand you have been dealt. Here's one last thing. Here's something you never do when you play cards for money. Never shuffle the deck, one in each hand. It makes the other players nervous. When they see you shuffle with one hand while you backflip cut with the other, they get up and run, and you are left playing solitaire. And on that note, unless you'd like to play a hand or two, I hope you all had fun. Did you have fun? Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the incredible Richard Turner.
Take a bow. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Laura, shake hands. Thank you, Laura. Give you a shake. Shake hands, Laura. Thank you. Good job. Thank you, Kathy. Hey, did you have fun?
It was incredible.
Oh, good. Oh, good, good. Thanks, everybody.
Here is a short list of the friends and colleagues who have blessed me over the years. And if I missed anyone, I apologize now. Thanks again. Judah, say goodbye.
Thank you.